Welcome back to the weekly installment of the Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering this week, February 15th to the 22nd of 2025. And today's video is going to leave you wondering just what's going on in this world that we call Magic the Gathering. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here for your weekly installment of the Top 10. I'm the host with the most, and hey, we're going to have some fun while we're here. Now, let's not forget that if you're looking for any of the cards we find in today's video on the Top 10 and you're shopping for them, well, don't forget to use my TCG Player affiliate link found in the description of this video. Now, the number 10 card this week, it actually popped up on the radar late last night when I was doing the numbers, and this is Slumbering Dragon from Magic the Gathering 2013. Now, this card does take the number 10 spot with 1,300 sales or $2,392 of total sales action. Pretty impressive considering this card wasn't on anybody's radar until of yesterday. Now, when we're taking a look at Slumbering Dragon, and yes, you guys can see the price is $1.84. It's not really expensive, but by the time you're watching this video, go check the price because the price has changed since you saw this video. And it's not just because it's a single casting cost, it's because of the announcement of Mox Jasper. I will have a follow-up video later today. You just have to look for it. I will be covering this card in depth to give you guys an understanding of what's going on in the marketplace and how to best prepare. Now, Slumbering Dragon is a single red casting cost 3/3 dragon with flying that says Slumbering Dragon cannot attack or block unless it has 5 or more counters, and whatever creature you attack, you get these counters, okay? But anyway, the point is it's one casting cost. Keep an eye on this. Follow up with my video later today. You won't be disappointed. Now, the number 2 card this week is the Agonosaur Rex. What a horrible pronunciation. Moxman is slaughtering it. But it's from Aetherdrift. It comes in at number 9 with 1,412 sales and $1,581.44 of total sales action. Now, a card like this is interesting because cards from Aetherdrift haven't got a lot of legs, okay? They have not really got a grab into the market with a lot of value, and cards like this are actually pretty good when you take a look at them. So I think a lot of players are going to take advantage of these really low prices and move some money into this market, just not quickly. It'll slowly be deployed to allow them to buy cards like this. Now, as a 5 casting cost, 2 green and 3 other, the Rex here is a creature dinosaur with trample. It does have cycling, which is nice, and it's an 8/8. Whenever you cycle this card, put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature or vehicle, and it gains trample and indestructible at end of turn. This card has advantages most players would like to utilize, but they're just not doing it yet. Time will tell. Now, our number 8 card this week is Full Throttle. This one really shouldn't come as a surprise, other than the fact the price has dropped off the face of the earth, which means it's cheap to get. 1,487 sales or $2,825.30 means this card is a highly affordable card that everyone should probably just buy 4 copies and call it a day. Now, this one has a few advantages. It's the multiple attack phases inside, and the fact the market isn't really utilizing this card right now, we haven't seen it in tons of standard play as a winning combination, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, so keep an eye on cards like this. As other cards and sets become revealed this year, you might see the price on this one flip around. So let's take a closer look and see what we're talking about. It's a 6 casting cost. 2 red, 4 other means this should be a game-winning card. This is your bomb to make you win at the end. After this main phase, there are 2 additional combat phases. At the beginning of each combat phase this turn, untap all creatures that attacked this turn. So you get a lot of whamming creatures to smack people down, especially if you have token armies. Keep an eye out. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, which is Zool, the Ashur Lich Lord. This one keeps coming back, but as we discussed 2 weeks ago, when this card really hit big, this one here started going up in price. Like 1,528 sales isn't a lot, but the price tag is now $4,308, which is a real difference from what we saw a couple of weeks ago when this card was $1.61 or something. It's doubled over in price right now, and it's still continuing to climb, and that's because we still have tons of zombies being played in Aetherdrift. We have that amazing commander deck everyone's been talking about, and now we're finally seeing that players, although they're not buying tons of them, we have a continuous stream of volume leaving the market space, means this card's going to continue to be bought. It may even reach the $5 level, so keep an eye for a card like this. A 2 casting cost that is a 2/2, ward and pay 2 life, and you can cast zombie cards from your graveyard. Yeah, pretty disgustingly powerful for what this thing is. Foundations gave us some great cards, do not forget. Alright guys, let's dive into our next card, and this is the Riverpyre Verge. Now, these ones here have been the talk of the town. Everyone's discussing them. They are coming up in boards everywhere. Players wondering how much they should be utilizing them and if they're going to make the cut. 1,724 sales, that's $11,206 of sales action to lock in the number 6 position. Now, let's not forget with cards like this, there's a wave of like, I gotta have it. That's the pre-order, right? Then there's a lull period where players are like, is this thing really worth it? Just like we saw with Triomes. And by the end of it, this card's going to end up being around $9. It'll slowly trend up about 12 months from now. So if you haven't bought this card and you're thinking about it, yeah, lock in those 4 copies. You're probably not going to be disappointed. Now, the Riverpyre Verge, when you take a look closer, it is a land. It says add 1 red to your mana pool or add a blue. Activate only if you control an island or mountain. So you got to have one of those basic lands in play, but there's a lot of options with this card, especially in Commander, do not forget. Although it will be devalued 5 years from now. Now, our next card, of course, is the Bleachbone Verge, and this is the exact same thing as Riverpyre. They were both here last week, and there was a lot of talk about how great these cards are going to be, if not already. 1,989 sales is $13,644.54, locking in the number 5 position this week. And a card like this, like we just discussed with the Riverpyre, these ones here have that shelf life of about 5 years before Wizards probably assigns these things somewhere into a Commander deck. So there is time for players to enjoy the cards, have fun with them, or they can wait for a reprint a half decade later. You see what I mean? Players are going to buy them now. They're going to pay the price, get them into their decks. They're not going to wait past the lull period when it starts rising in price. Most players should get these things in now, spend $25, get a playset of 4, or, you know, get a couple of playsets of 2, maybe even 1 of each one just because you're playing Commander. The option is open to you, of course, but cards like this are going to have playability for a long time. Now, when we're talking about our next card, though, when we dive over and see the number 4 card, you're going to see here that not every card has to be a land. This is the Marauding Mako. Aetherdrift, this is like the shark pirate. I am using this right now in Standard, and it is highly effective, and players do deal with it right away. 2,100 sales this week locks in the number 4 position, or $4,200 of total sales action. Kind of nice to see that this small creature is getting a little bit of love, you know? A lot of these creatures right now with these discard decks don't always work out, but when you get this one out about midway through the game, he doesn't look very intimidating. He's a little baby shark, but baby shark, well, he gets to become a big daddy shark. I feel like singing the shark song now. Oh, it's in my head. When you guys go with this and you take a look, when you start discarding cards, using a Monument of Endurance, and really boosting this guy up, cards like this can become very powerful, really big game-finishing cards, especially if you have ways of multiple attacks in a turn, like we just discussed. Now, a card like this also has cycling. If you don't need it till later, you can always discard it and get yourself to draw a card. I mean, this is a good card, okay? For an uncommon, guys, it's going to go higher. You wait and see. Now, for our next card, we're taking a look at the Riptide Gearhulk. I did not expect to see this card here taking the number 3 slot, diving in here with 2,139 sales, and that means we got the total sales action of $21,176.10. This card will not be here next week. This is a one-stop shop. It's coming in at $9.90. The market says $9.13. This is not going to hold, okay? Don't expect this guy to be here next week. I think what we're seeing right now with this particular card is just interest in general for what this thing can do. But that does not mean that a card like this is going to be there week over week, just like we saw all those amazing banned cards kind of get big sales action. It's a one-off as far as I'm concerned. So when we take a look at it, 2 blue, 2 white, 1 other, but the imagery is amazing on this card, by the way. I love it. I mean, they should just say it's a golem to me, but that's fine. It's an artifact creature construct with double strike. It has prowess. When this creature first enters, for each opponent, put up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. A lot of unsummoning, a lot of fun. Yep, this card's worth it. All right, guys, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now we're taking a look at the Aetherspark. This one, again, I didn't expect it to be this high on the list. Comes in at number 2. We have 2,256 confirmed sales, $85,000 in change spent on this card. Now, I'm not sure because I have not really played against this right now in Standard, but to me, the Aetherspark is kind of a novelty card. I'm waiting to see if somebody gives me some crazy killer combo that can come out in Standard, or if it's being utilized somewhere else, because to me, the card right now looks like, again, it's funny. It's kind of, this is great. I see they got some players to buy this card. but the fact the price isn't really shifting downward makes me wonder if I'm missing something. So if you know something I don't know, share with the Mox, man, educate me, and let me know how this game is played. Now, the Aetherspark is a forecasting cost, of course, and as we go down and take a look what the actual stats on a card like this look like, other than the artwork, we see that this is a legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. What a mouthful. It is a 4. It gets all kinds of attached things and put +1/+1 counters. You get to draw cards, of course. I've seen this kind of stuff before. I just don't see how it's going to be a game-winning combo unless it's something to do with that 10 mana. But you guys will let me know. It seems slow to me. It just seems too slow to utilize in Standard. Maybe Commander. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the number 1 card this week, and it is Monument of Endurance. Average price $10.69, and as you can see, this bad boy had 2,603 sales. Now, that means the total cost was $27,800 and change. That's a lot of money being spent on this card. Let's not forget, okay? This one here has a lot of sales action going on that players are kind of like, this is what I wanted this card to be. It is everything I need, and I'm just not quite sure how it's going to connect to make me win the game. And that's the difference with cards like this. You may not know the actual synergy that's going to make it go off and just trigger multiple times a turn. I've already tried this in Standard. Yeah, it helps me win when I make force opponents to take 3 damage, but it's not a card that I get to do multiple click-offs that just let me snap, 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 and win the game. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play out in the next little while. Now, don't forget, the Monument of Endurance is a 3 casting cost, not hard to get out. And of course, whenever you discard a card, as it states here, whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Draw a card, create a treasure token, each opponent loses 3 life. It is a nice card, it does have playability, I'm not saying it doesn't, but I have not been able to make this thing give me the instant win that I've been hoping for. But either way, it's really great to see a card like this have some serious value that players are looking forward to utilizing later this year. I don't think it's happened yet, but I think we're going to see it play out. Anyway, let's get to the end of the video. Let's talk about what's happening on the market scene. If you ever wanted a better indicator about how quickly the Magic market can move, take a look at Slumbering Dragon. This stuff happened overnight. But the good news is there's lots of options out there. I will be covering it later today in a video. Guys, Mox Jasper. We have talked about Wizards of the Coast making cards like this, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Aetherdrift, though, really dominates the list this week, but here's the thing, and most of you probably, if you've been on my channel, you notice this. These numbers drop like a stone. We didn't even break 3,000 sales for the number 1 card. These are incredibly low numbers. Even though some of the cards like Aetherspark are very expensive, the overall sales numbers are rock bottom compared to what we've seen in the market space in the last several weeks. I can't wait to see how this is going to play out next week. I think we're going to start seeing cards from Bloomborough. We're going to see some other strange cards start to jump onto the list because of all these leaked event cards and new sets and everything else coming up in the market, which I will cover in this week's videos. It's just crazy to think about it all right now. It gives me a lot to brainstorm on, and I want to get some information together for you guys. But the market as we stand, it just shows it moves so quickly. I think Aetherdrift is going to just drop off the map like it never happened. Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff, Anvil following, Roadrunner looking down going meep meep, and it's all over. Guys, let me know what you think though. Drop some comments, keep this stuff alive. Let's make sure we're all at least looking at some of these cards because there are some good ones out there. Aetherdrift does give us some decent cards, and some of those values will jump up, so you might be able to take advantage of the market being as low as it's going to be with the interest in Aetherdrift. Being so low means cheap cards. Cheap cards can bounce back when nobody expects it, so there's some quick money to be made there at some point. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel. Looking forward to the reserve list top 10 tomorrow. There are some buyouts going on in that market space still. We're going to talk about that. And of course, I'll have a few extra videos this week probably just because there's so much going on that I want to cover. Guys, thanks again. Drop some comments. Thanks for giving the thumbs up and the likes. And I'll see you guys later, okay? Have a great one. Wow. Well, here we are at the end of the credits. This is the scene where you get to see all these amazing patrons, the supporters of this channel, making sure that we get down and dirty with Magic content every single day. Whether you like it or not, there's so much amazing stuff going on in this game that we have to discuss it. We got to prepare for it, and we got to make sure we enjoy this hobby we love with weekly matches, man. Don't forget, always bring a friend to Magic. It's just more fun that way. I got in trouble at work. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. People in the Discord posting all those amazing cards, making me wonder if these things are real. I'm looking when I should be doing work. Oh, I got in trouble. And between us and the snow outside, it was worth it so much. I don't care. It was awesome. We're going to talk about it. Guys, this was your Ramble Jamble brought to you by... That's a pretty full cup of coffee, actually. Check out my video later. We're going to talk about it.